Okay, so you send in these horses, right?
Yeah.
And they're all about this thing called Pyrrhonism. And honestly, I got to admit, I was a little like, huh, pirouette? Not exactly something you hear about every day, you know?
Yeah, not exactly dinner table conversation.
Right, exactly. But, the more I kind of dug into it for this deep dive, the more I was like, wait a minute, this is this is actually pretty cool.
It's a bit of a hidden gem.
Yeah. Because see, at first I thought it was all about just like doubting everything,
Yeah.
like hardcore skepticism. But it's more than that.
It's more about, like, how do you actually live with that?
Yeah.
All the uncertainty and all that. And actually, how do you find, like, peace in it?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Peace. Okay, so for anyone listening who's totally clueless, like I was,
Hmm.
what exactly are we talking about here?
So we're diving into Pyrrhonism. It's this ancient Greek school of thought. And yeah, it is about skepticism, but not just for the sake of doubting, more about realizing that we might not know as much as we think we do.
Which, let's be real, in today's world, that's probably a good thing to remember sometime.
For sure, especially with all the information overload and conflicting opinions flying around.
Okay, so where did this whole Pyrrhonism thing even come from?
Well, there's this guy, Pyrrho of Eli's. He lived, like, way back in the 4th century BC. We don't have, like, his personal diary or anything.
Too bad.
Right. But from what we can piece together, he went on this crazy trip to India.
India. What was he doing in India?
That's where it gets interesting. He probably met with, like, these ascetic philosophers, maybe some Buddhists or Jains. And, they're all about questioning reality and letting go of attachments.
So you think those encounters like totally blew his mind, changed his whole perspective?
I think it's safe to say they had a huge influence on him. Like, imagine him debating with these guys who have a totally different view of the world.
Yeah, that would definitely make you question everything you thought you knew.
Right. And so he comes back to Greece with this whole new way of looking at things.
And that's when Pyrrhonism is born.
Pretty much. He starts teaching this idea that, hey, maybe we can't actually know anything for sure. Like, our senses can deceive us, our logic can be flawed, and who's to say what's truly right or wrong?
So instead of like stressing about finding the truth, he's saying, maybe we just chill out and accept that we don't have all the answers.
Exactly. And that's where these two really important concepts come in. Epiche and ataraxia.
Okay, those are some words. Hit me with them. What do they mean?
So epiche is basically about suspending judgment, like not jumping to conclusions, not getting all worked up about having to be right all the time.
So kind of like taking a step back and saying, okay, I see your point, I see their point, but I'm not going to pick a side just yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's about recognizing that there might be multiple perspectives and we don't always have to choose one. And ataraxia, that's like the mental peace that comes from practicing epiche.
Oh, so like the less you stress about having to be right, the calmer and happier you are.
It's the freedom that comes from letting go of the need for certainty.
I like that. But wasn't there like a more I don't know, structured way that Pyrrhonists went about this whole skepticism thing?
You're thinking of the 3 modes of skepticism.
Like modes, like skepticism levels.
Kinda, yeah. They're outlined by Sextus Empiricus, who, by the way, lived centuries after Pyrrho. His writings are basically how we even know about Pyrrhonism.
Oh, so like Pyrrho was the OG skeptic and Sextus was like the historian keeping his ideas alive.
You could say that. So these 3 modes, they're like guidelines for practicing epiche.
Okay, I'm all ears. Give me the skepticism lowdown.
First mode, disagreement. Basically, people disagree about, well, everything. Look at politics, religion, even like what kind of music is good. If there was one absolute truth, wouldn't we all agree on it?
Makes you think.
Right. Second mode is relativity. This one's saying, like, our experiences shape our beliefs. What seems true to me might not seem true to you because we've lived different lives.
So like my truth, your truth, no one's really wrong, just different.
Precisely. And that can be a good thing. It means being open to other perspectives.
Okay, 2 down, 1 to go. What's the third mode?
Infinite regress. This one's a little trippy. It's saying, like, to prove anything, you need evidence, right? But then how do you prove that evidence is true? You need more evidence. And so on, forever.
So it's like an endless loop of needing proof.
Yep. And that kind of makes you wonder, can we ever truly know anything for certain?
The head's spinning a little bit. But okay, so back in ancient Greece, Pyrrhonism wasn't the only philosophy around.
Oh, definitely not. You had the Stoics, the Epicureans, all offering different paths to, like, living a good life.
Yeah, so how did Pyrrhonism fit in with all of them? Was it like a totally different vibe?
Well, the Stoics were all about, like, logic and virtue, controlling your emotions, living in accordance with nature.
Okay, so inner strength, self-discipline. Got it.
Yeah.
What about the Epicureans? Weren't they all about pleasure?
Yeah, but not in a, like, hedonistic way. It was more about seeking long-term happiness by avoiding unnecessary pain, both physical and mental.
Okay, so living simply, enjoying the good things in life, but not going overboard.
Exactly, but the key difference with Pyrrhonism is this. Both Stoics and Epicureans believed in, like, objective truth.
Like some things are just true no matter what.
Right. Pyrrhonism, on the other hand, it's questioning that whole concept, saying maybe there isn't one single truth with a capital T.
Okay, so Pyrrhonism is like the rebel of the philosophy world.
The ultimate skeptic, for sure. And you know what's really cool? It didn't just stay in ancient Greece. Pyrrhonism, like, popped up throughout history.
Like where?
Well, in the Renaissance, you had Michel de Montaigne. He was super into skepticism, questioning everything, like social norms, religious dogmas, even his own thoughts and experiences.
Wow, a true Pyrrhonist spirit right there.
And then, much later, there was David Hume. He was a Scottish philosopher, super influential.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, well, he was big into questioning the limits of human reason. Like,
Wow.
we may be sure of anything, really. Sounds familiar. Oh,
Totally. So even centuries later, these Pyrrhonist ideas were still like making waves.
and it goes beyond Western philosophy, too. You get similar ideas in Buddhism, Taoism, letting go of rigid beliefs, embracing uncertainty, finding peace in the present moment. It's kind of a universal theme.
Whoa, mind blown. So we've gone from ancient Greece to like the 18th century and even touched on Eastern philosophy. But why should someone listening today in the 21st century care about all this? What's the takeaway?
Well, think about it. We're drowning in information, news, social media. Everyone's got an opinion. It's easy to get swept up in it all, to feel like you have to have a strong opinion about everything.
Ooh, tell me about it. Sometimes I just want to like throw my phone in the ocean and go live in a cave.
Right, but Pyrrhonism, it gives you these tools to navigate that chaos. Apache suspending judgment, that's like a superpower in today's world.
So instead of getting all stressed out trying to figure out who's right and who's wrong, you're like, okay, I'm just going to observe. Listen, I'm going to think critically, but I'm not going to jump on any bandwagons.
Exactly. And that can lead to more thoughtful conversations, more open-mindedness, less conflict. And remember, ataraxia, that peace of mind, it's more relevant than ever in our crazy, hyper-connected world.
So in a way, Pyrrhonism is like this ancient philosophy that's suddenly super relevant to modern life.
It's about finding that inner peace, that clarity amidst all the noise.
Okay, so everyone listening, here's your challenge. As you go about your day, your week, think about this. How can you practice a little empuche? How can you find that ataraxia, even when everything feels chaotic? Just something to ponder. Might make your life a little easier, who knows?